v.h.s.x? What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome to another sort of Freddy guide for you guys. Now this gameplay was submitted by Duke. Shout out to this guy, man. Freddy main, who's probably like I would say one of the best at using the Dream Pallets. This is going to be at least a way for you guys that are maybe starting out with Freddy or want to learn how to play this character on how to utilize different aspects of his ability. I did actually have a guide for the snare placements and things like that in a different video. This one will be covering specifically Dream Pallets. So let's get into it. Now normally I'd say like for me personally, I think I'm more of a snare user for me personally, but I know that Duke right here is very goated with the pallets, you know what I mean? Very good. Now something that you may notice that Duke is doing here, which is this is very important, is that right off the bat you see that he immediately will switch to pallet, and now as you'll notice, he's already placing down his pallets, because the thing with Dream Pallets is that it does take a lot of time to set up, because you need to be able to switch to it, like aim it, place it, then turn around, and then you have to detonate, which then can take an additional couple of seconds. That's important to keep in mind when dealing with something like this, you know what I mean? I think it's very important that you kind of keep that in mind when dealing with placements and things like that. Now we can already see there's a couple of survivors running around here. That's pretty much best case scenario. Pick the thing that you think will work the best. Right there was a really good attempt. I'm gonna rewind it so you guys can see. He can tell that this survivor is running toward his Dream Pallet that he already pre-placed, right? So then in this situation, it's really trying to get them into the range of this Dream Pallet. I personally recommend running, like, you know, the range for your Dream Pallets personally, just so that you at least can get a slightly better chance of landing your attack. However, that's really up to you. So the blue add-on there is it actually increasing the range of the detonation by 14%, and the wool shirt, which is the brown shirt add-on, is decreasing the delay from when the pallet will, you know, detonate. Now, what I would say, like, if you are starting out with the Dream Pallets, is to kind of be careful with using that particular add-on, because it can sort of change the timing for you if you're not really used to the normal detonation delay timing. Now, me personally, I like to run the unicorn block, which is that blue block add-on. I run that with the jump rope add-on for snare. So I usually run it with just range. I use like the default detonation delay, because that's what I just personally am used to when I end up using the Dream Pallets. But Duke right here is using pallet only, so that's what makes it a little bit different, and therefore I think would be the most informative, I would say, to how to use the Dream Pallets effectively. So let's go ahead and continue. So right there, good attempt. And then you're still able to get the M1 as well. Very good. As you can see, a lot of the Dream Pallet detonation is prediction. You ultimately want to be focusing on trying to get the detonation in their path, so that you can time it in a certain way, essentially before they're able to dodge it. And it can take a little bit of practice. It's not going to be easy. You may not even get it the first time, but it's definitely worth it once you get it down. So gets it down there. Nice. Now, one thing I'm going to point out is you have to be careful of is the fact that if they do fall under your Dream Pallets, survivors can pallet save with your Dream Pallets. So if they, for whatever reason, fall under it, I usually recommend like detonating it so that it doesn't actually do that. At least, or give the opportunity to do that. I haven't had that personally happen to me, but it can happen. Because of the fact that you can get stunned by your own Dream Pallets, unfortunately. Now that, like, I have to say, very good hook placement. Attempting to go for a hook that's a bit more further towards the gen is a pretty smart play. That's definitely what you want to be doing. Good hit there. That was beautiful. That right there, perfect example of how to use the Dream Pallets. Highly recommend you do the same thing if you were to, you know, be utilizing the Dream Pallets. Because if you notice, she already is in the animation of dropping this pallet here. She's right there between the pallet and the Dream Pallet, and from there, it's just a decision of the survivor. Are they gonna vault into him and then take a hit, or are they gonna go toward that Dream Pallet and risk taking the explosion? It forces them into a situation, and then from there, they had to make the decision: do I go towards that direction and do that, or do I not? Right? Very smart play. This is exactly what I like to see when talking about how to improve with the character. And then, of course, you know, the Meg just kind of gives up after that, I believe. She's just like, oh, yeah, you got it. She just kind of stood there. Like, damn, you got it, bro. She's just like, damn. So from there, they are going to try to slam down your Dream Pallets, but you can always just instantly put them right back. So that's always a good thing to do. So now, pretty good decision making. You want to basically go for the survivor that has been unhooked, of course, normally, but obviously, considering he has very good pressure, he doesn't really need to do that. And he also has a build specifically focused around pallets, so very fun way to play it. Now, usually, that was a beautiful prediction right there. And this is exactly why I wanted to show you guys this particular match, for those of you learning the Dream Pallets, because this is another perfect example on how to utilize them correctly. So as you can see, he's already starting off the fight here, or I guess the chase rather. And the Jake is already approaching the pallet. So from that, he's like, okay, I'm going to see if I can actually place anything down. You already can see that it's highlighting yellow saying, look, you can place your Dream Pallet there. So that's what he does. He goes, all right, cool. Places it down. Now the trap is set. Now, noticing how like this particular tile works, which I might be able to give you guys at least a little bit of a diagram. The pizza is going to be Freddy, of course, because he looks like a pizza. And then you have the cow, because that's the prey, you know what I mean? That's the survivor. So basically, from the path that we started from was like basically going from, you know, this side right here, which is here, right? I'm gonna draw a little arrow. So from here, as you can see, you know, the Freddy is following him into this path. Now, because Duke Rye knows, okay, well, you know, I already placed down my Dream Pallet right here. The path that they're gonna have to take is either going to this window, or they're gonna go to this pallet here, or like try to run past it. Now, they have a decision, right? Because if you even notice in the gameplay, right, there is a window on the little corner here that you can run to. It's a pretty of a small window, and then right down past it is another placement for a Dream Pallet. So he has a decision to make. So something that you're going to end up doing with pallets, especially when it comes down to using Freddy, is sort of taking a guess, right? Now, with the jungle gym that's kind of shaped like this, that has like this weird, like, you know, pallet here, window there, and then like just kind of like this, and then that leads to go this way. They have a decision between using this to run back around. Like they could vault this, run back through, and then go through there. But that's not what they were probably trying to do. Maybe they were, right? Maybe they were like, okay, but maybe they thought they could. But that's not really how that works, unless if they decided to pre-drop that. So the next best thing, Rob, obviously, is either they're going to have to make the decision of going here or there. Now, that's why he decided to detonate it, because from there, it's really just a guess. You're like, okay, they could go there. And that's why I'm going to detonate it anyway, because like a lot of with Dream Pallet detonations, it's a lot of prediction, but it's also a lot of just taking a chance. You're like, they could go that way. Let me just detonate it anyway, because you never know. They could slip up and make a mistake. And that is what hopefully Hopefully that helps, you know, kind of explain why it was such a smart play. So let's go ahead and continue the clip so I can show you like in real time what happened. So he drops a pallet, and you can even tell that the guy was already running it diagonally. He could have ran like toward to the left side of where you know Duke right here is looking. He could have ran to the left, but he didn't. He went diagonally. So already he's like, all right, let me start getting my hand up because I already know what I'm about to do. And you can see by like just from the path there, as you can see if you watch the clip again, he goes directly just through and immediately is able to get the detonation. So let's continue. Got the hit. Now, as you can see, the guy just like panicked and ran all the way back in. Now the Jake has nothing to work with, as you can see. He's panicking. He's going to the corner of the map now. He's got nowhere to go. Now he's cooked. Pretty dangerous. So from here, we basically can see what the next play is. Obviously, we're gonna be going ahead and teleporting. Of course, that's exactly what you want to do. And the Meg is still injured, right? So pre-placing the Dream Pallet perfectly makes sense. And as you can see, we can get an instant replay there. Look at the play. Same exact play from before. Now this is touching on something else that I can actually show you guys in the diagram, just to give you guys a little bit more information as to how this works. All right, so I wanted to go ahead and give you guys an additional like sort of model or diagram to kind of give you guys at least a visual to understand exactly like what's happening here. So previously, the first time they got downed, right, which was the in the same place, this area right here is very lethal, right? And this is a particular thing that I want to talk about that has to do with leaving pallets down, because I know you can get a little trigger happy when you want to break about a bunch of pallets, but this is an example of what I would say of leaving pallets down, or we can call it the we can basically say like leave it alone, or other words, you know what I mean, whatever you want to call it, the leave it alone strategy, whatever you want, you can call it whatever you want, but basically you want to leave this setup here because it's so lethal for a survivor player, because they have to make a decision in a situation like this. And there's another spot like this in RPD, but we're not going to be discussing that map today. But specifically we're going to be discussing is the placement here, because as you can see, Freddy the pizza is right here trying to essentially corral them to go into this area with the Dream Pallet placed. And the way that works is because he has control over this area, right? Because if they were, say, to rotate this way and go all the way around, the risk is that the explosion from here is going to be able to, like, you know, explode as they pass by. So that's why that's so risky. So if they decide to want to like actually mind game this, they are cooked, right? Because if they decide to go any point, go over here on this half of the map, chances are the range of the Dream Pallet, especially with the add-on, is going to be able to hit them, right? Now, because these survivors made the mistake of staying in this area right about here, they don't have it. They basically vault directly into danger, because if they decide to vault directly straight through, they're in the range of the Dream Pallet and then they explode. Then if you were to say rotate around it, you still also make the risk of either getting hit by going around, or you end up getting blown up by the Dream Pallet as well. Either way, you're going to be taking a risk while being in the area, and that's what makes this area so strong. And that's something that you over time will be able to pick out and you know, be able to notice, like, wait, there's a setup here right next to this pallet, maybe I shouldn't break it. Rule of thumb is probably don't break the pallet yet until you can confirm that you can either get a dream placement pallet, or you can actually mind game it with the dream snares, but that's obviously going to be covered in a different guide than this one. But this one's specifically covering dream pallet placement. So hopefully it's not too confusing. Hopefully it's not too confusing, you know what I mean? But I'm trying to give as much information as I can in the most simple way I can. So hopefully it's helping you guys out that are watching this, that want to learn how to play Freddy. That right there was beautiful. You want to see it again? Let's do it. Teleported immediately, game awareness. What do you see right here in the center of your screen? Right? He teleports. Bro, Duke is locked in. You could see somebody walking on the left side there. I'm going to slow it down for you guys in case you need to see it again. Because it was quick. It was like barely like a second and you would miss it. So I'm going to go ahead and rewind it for you guys. So right here, we get the teleport off. You can see even like right here on the left of the rock, there's already a V running directly into the Dream Pallet and takes a hit. Right about there, because he ran directly into it and got blown up and is about to potentially get downed again. And that is something that comes with time. That is something that comes with experience, game sense, and things like that. That is something that you can also strive to be if you decide to continue to play Freddy. Be honest, because there's a lot you can do with this character, and that's why he always is one of the highest in terms of kill rate, because of the fact that he has a lot of tools in his kit that are deceptively strong. Now that is another thing that you could potentially do, which is obviously what's the word for it, like using the Dream Pallet mainly. Now that is something that you're going to notice as well, that this is kind of carried over from one of his original forms, I guess you could say, is the fact that if they drop down a Dream Pallet, you're going to be able to get a free hit because they're still stuck in the animation. Now that's only if you're able to dodge the stun from your own Dream Pallet, because that is a thing that does happen. You can get stunned by your own pallet for some reason if they decide to slam it. And as you can see, we're getting brutal strength and fire of value. Very nice, of course. Now from here, you can actually see somebody running along past the gen that got completed, and they're actually injured. Now Shack is usually a little bit more effective when you're using the dream snares in particular. However, it still is possible to use it with just pallet only if you can get the Shack pallet down. It then makes it a little bit more risky to do so. But that's if you're able to do that preemptively. As you can see right there, another perfect example on how to use the Dream Pallets. You break the pallet that you're in front of in a certain way, which has to do with breaking the pallet in order to corral these survivors in a certain way. It's a little bit more in depth, and it's kind of hard to explain obviously in depth in this video, but it is an aspect that you want to be able to learn, and it's definitely how to break the pallet. I know it sounds like crazy at when you really think about it, but it's important that you break the pallet in ways to make it easier for you to get kills or get hits and get downs and things like that. Now I can see that Duke with the 200 IQ play was like, I'm gonna break the pallet this way to push them back towards other pallets that are already in the map. Normally I would say you want to break the pallet on the other side and have them facing toward the back of the map, but in this situation he was like, nah, I got Dream Pallets right in front of me. I can just pre-place it as I'm walking toward them and set the trap ahead of time. And that's exactly how it pays off here, because if you notice, he pre-places it, the Jake didn't even notice, and then he gets blown up after turning the corner. Incredible play. I mean, that's exactly how you do it. Now, becoming a master of both Dream Snare and Dream Pallet is something that I would say like the most dedicated of Freddy mains can do. I usually am somebody who is more, I would say I focus more on snares, because I kind of like that gameplay of like almost like a clown, sort of like clown gameplay, except a little bit more like with a bomb option with the pallet, go blow it up, and and I just think it's fun to do that, especially because it makes everything so dangerous. But beautiful play there as well. He did have, like, Duke Ride does actually have Spirit Fury enduring in this build. And either way, like, if the play didn't work, he still would have had that as a backup. So quite a smart play there. I can imagine he was like Hadouken when he went through the when he went through that pallet there. So let's go ahead and continue here. Smart plays, always teleporting to a pretty far area. Just go off of just game sense. It's something you pick up over time. You usually want to check out areas that most likely have people going there. Now, what you're gonna notice here is that he did actually land the Dream Pallet, but they didn't go down. They didn't take a hit. Why? It's because the Sable was awake. Now, Dream Pallets are non-lethal when survivors are awake. And you may notice even like when you're playing Freddy that you might see some yellow circles, like, you know, that go around these survivors' heads on the HUD. That is just because they use the alarm clock and they have an immunity to your abilities. So another aspect of playing Freddy is obviously the sleep management. You know what I mean? But in this situation, as you can see, he was still able to land the Dream Pallet so that he can get them to fall asleep. And you can even hear the ho ho ho. So you know that means that you actually got somebody to fall asleep. You know what I mean? When he starts like laughing, you go, okay, like, you know, you that means that they fell asleep. Good job. You know what I mean? As you can see, now we're seeing how Shaq can be quite dangerous. And as you can see, this is incredible from Duke Ride because he's like, yo, they have to either make the vault or not, right? And the Sable's kind of waiting there essentially in the center of the shack, which allowed to get Duke Ride the hit because they only have one direction it can go through, and is the window. So what he's basically doing is, okay, I'm going to detonate the pallet, and then I'm going to start walking to the left side so that by the time they start finishing their vault, I'll already be on them and be able to get the hit or get the down. And in this situation, you're essentially locking them out. And I might be able to actually give you guys another diagram for this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and draw basically what the play was. So from this position, right, where the pizza is, which is Freddy, you go this way, right? And then while you're doing that, you're trying to detonate this. Because that means that they can't go this way because obviously you're there. And they can't go that way because they are also gonna get blown up, which they don't want to do. So the only direction that they can go is this way. Now, what Duke Ride was essentially trying to do, which is pretty smart, is trying to get this to block. If you can get this to just get blocked by the entity, that means that they once again have nowhere to go pretty much besides that way, if they're able to do that. And of course, it's going to be quite effective. Now, as you can imagine, it's going to be pretty dangerous for the survivor in this situation. Of course, I'm gonna go ahead and you know, move up a little bit so you can see it. And essentially, they are in a situation where they have to only go in one way, and that's something that Freddy can specialize a lot in, is basically controlling the map, and, you know, sort of being able to set traps and slow down people and stuff like that. And you're controlling the area, controlling a zone, in a very unique way. And it's a very smart play because forcing the survivors to make decisions are also what's going to cause them to make mistakes. And if you can cause them to make a mistake, that's going to give you the upper hand. So because the Stable was kind of like stuck, she was like, well, if I vault, like, you know, what do I do? Like, you know what I mean? She ended up getting hit here because she was all like, you know, kind of stuck trying to go that way and then go back this way and then go back that way over and over. That caused her to get hit there. And it's incredible. It really is incredible. So we're gonna go ahead and play it again so you guys can basically see, you know, what it is that I'm talking about. He pretty much had no choice but to take the hit there. And then smart move as well from Duke Ride. He's like, I don't gotta walk over there. I could just teleport. Very dangerous moves. Now, another situation here. Now, the Sable's already, like, afraid, doesn't know what the hell's going on, it seems like, so this is already gonna work out for you. And then she tried to play chicken with the pallet and then lost. So, I see that a lot sometimes with, like, when well, I guess you don't see that a lot sometimes. Whatever. I see that a lot. You'll have like survivors that just either get really cocky or they just like want to stand there for some reason and then they just get cooked. Cause like, I don't really know what the intention behind it is. Like, I don't know whether like standing there like really like, you know, it's like, no, you're gonna get cooked. Like, just let it go, bro. Like, it's over for you. Yeah, so Freddy can be pretty dangerous, especially, you know, when you're utilizing something like this. Of course, the Meg just kind of flew into him, so that's, of course, a free down. But otherwise, I mean, yeah, like, this is pretty much how it's done when you're going, especially going with Pallet Freddy only. This is how you control the map. This is how you get these survivors to make decisions. And I'm actually curious to see if there's actually a couple of more examples. So of course this Sable's is awake currently, so obviously like the Dream Pallets are not gonna like deal any damage. But if you are able to get her to fall asleep, just like he did there, she's making a mistake there because she keeps like looking back and instead of like just vaulting. And that actually is what cost her the down there because she decided to kind of stand there. So that's not really that good for her. So as we can see now, we're actually making our way back towards the hook. It's pretty much like the last survivor here, which I'm actually curious to see if like there's any like if he was able to get any like good hits or anything. Okay, so I think they found Hatch or something. But either way, I think that this was very informative. I really appreciate Duke Rice submitting this so that we can help you guys who are learning as well. If you're interested in signing up for some one-on-one coaching, feel free to do so. We have an email for that, and you know, get it set up and scheduled and whatnot. And if you're not interested in a one-on-one coaching, you can also just like submit a losing match, include your hours in the Discord. You can just have a video unlisted, submit it that way, and you'll be able to you know, help others who are also struggling with characters so that you can also help other people learn too from a review similar to this one. So appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully this was informative enough and I was able to teach you a couple things on how to play Freddy more effectively. I'll see you guys in the next one. Consider watching other Freddy guides we have on the channel here, or possibly even in the playlist of the How to Play Killer course. I'll see you guys in the next one, and good luck out there.